Okay, that was Mushoku Tensei, Season 1, Episode 2. That was delightful. I really enjoyed that episode.
I am honestly very happy of this serious element that is being kind of trickled into maybe a more lighthearted magic user panties kind of anime. And this idea that we have of him retaining some consciousness, some memories, and then them slipping in every once in a while, and it actually affecting him as a child, this child in this new world. I'm really liking that.
Yeah, me too, because it's you implement something into the story, and that thing being the ability to retain memories of a past life. Episode 1, you primarily use it for, early awareness in age of how to strengthen ability, as well as perviness, right? But the fact that they use it for a very, very serious topic as well is really nice. And I'm a little bit worried that it's done, it's over with now, he's fine, which wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, but I love.
Well, he did say at the end there, I get possibly being worried that maybe it is a closed chapter of like he has his trauma healed now.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that there are more than just that trauma that needs to be healed. Going out doesn't necessarily mean making friends and being willing to stand in front of people and present yourself to them.
You're very right. Or being a good person, because I think one potential way of looking at why he is who he is in the body of the 34-year-old is nothing in the past excuses your present behavior. Nothing in the past makes your behavior justifiable or okay at all. But what it does potentially do is explain it a little bit so you can understand as a viewer how they got to this awful point that I'm mad at them for doing these wrong things, right? And if, he was obviously bullied is an understatement, right? To a point of trauma where an isolation where he felt like he couldn't leave his house in the most extreme of circumstances.
And even kind of wouldn't leave his room, it almost seems like. That his parents were standing at the door and he just banged on the wall, basically.
Yeah. And which has led to this, sense of isolation, which he has obviously delved into some sort of porn addiction. And with that comes unrealistic standards and expectations and dating sims.
Very into people that aren't real.
Yeah. And it obviously that harbors, if in real life at least, if people suffer from a severe porn addiction, that can easily affect in real life relationships in terms of standards that you expect from somebody, and also perversion depending on what kind of material you're looking at. And it's messed up and it's wrong. But here's the thing that I'm interested in. If he has the ability and the know-how and everything at his disposal to successfully get everything he only got fictionally in his last life, if he has that all in front of him, and it's his gold mine, right? Or his lottery of his past life, then that potentially opens up a door to him having that in front of him and choosing something else. And then he betters himself as a person because he has that in front of him now. But he has grown potentially at a point to realize that it's wrong at that point, or realize that, he wants to take a different route.
Yes, he has this consciousness of himself from his prior life and the memories, but he is also in a new life, therefore growing into a new person. He cannot be the same person he was transplanted here and not change. Because there is a different environment. The family dynamics are different than obviously what he was used to. We got a line of sick of little brothers. And at first I was like, oh, did we just have siblings and he wants a little sister? But I believe that the person who kicked him out was a little brother. And that was the family home. And he was kicked out of it for not showing up to the funeral. There's obviously this element of the fact that he's missing connections. but he doesn't want to be seen. He doesn't want people to look at him.
He wants, well, no, it's the whole, it's played up in a very visual sense in last episode and this. He likes being able to see other people when they don't see them.
Yes.
And
which is like through a screen, like you're playing a dating sim. It's like the girl on the other side of the screen can't see him, and he's like a people watcher.
And a stalker or a perv, or like a
people watcher.
Like a peeping Tom.
Tom.
But
definitely he peeped in this episode.
And here's the thing. It's very one-dimensional. Like, okay, it's very easy and true to say it's wrong. It's fucked up. I wonder where they're going to go with it.
Well, I think that they kind of are really giving a good platform, a good jumping off point for him to grow into a better version of himself in this new life that he's been given. And I don't know, I do get worried about the perviness to some extent of, will it become just this thing where he's just always this kind of, you know, more pervy character, and he doesn't really respect, you know, other people's space or, you know, their bodies. Is he just gonna ogle at them? But I think that with the line we got at the very end there, obviously it ended in a way that was panties, but he did say that he respected Roxy. And so I think that they're showing us that there could be a platform to jump off into, him choosing to use this life to really grow into a new person.
Yeah. I agree with you. That seems to be the theme that they're setting up, right? That we're going to see his challenges. Maybe it's not necessarily in this world physical challenges, because he's a very capable magic user, you know? But
is that on purpose? Is this new life, was he given everything in this new life so that what really mattered and what he really needed to work on was himself?
Well, like, I wrote down the term purgatory. Like, I wonder if this is, like, putting himself in this world as some sort of potential penance.
Or,
Yeah, and he has to figure out, if he's given everything, he still needs to be able to choose to do right.
Could he still be happy? Would people still love him?
Yeah.
Would people hate him and be mean to him even if he had everything in the world?
Good question.
Does he deserve their respect and attention?
Yeah. I imagine and could see us getting more of his past, you know, his previous life.
I doubt that was the only bullying episode that was traumatic for him.
I honestly adored the visuals of it, though. Like how it blended.
Yeah, it was blending in and out. And then the one, I think my favorite shot was him peering out the window, and then Rudy was also peering out the window at the same time. That was amazing.
I honestly loved the initial one, the phone, because it like manipulated the fantasy world that he's in to show us these kids holding phones when like it's not just like a glitch then, it's affecting your reality, you know. And I thought that was a really cool visual.
I honestly can't get it out of my head, that kind of like glitching and showing us both. And you can go so many different territories with it. I think one thought that I get is, well, if he never really grew up, you know, after the trauma of, I believe, probably his high school years, then inside his inner child, you know, he probably is still like a child on the inside. And so Rudy is going to be experiencing things and doing things that 34-year-old didn't get to experience and didn't get to do.
All across the board.
In interpersonal relationships, going out and exploring and like trying new things.
Like, obviously,
Friends?
There's that very, I don't know how I can make it more clear, wrong, like the perversion of it. Yes. But you also have to acknowledge that there is, within Rudy's feelings towards Roxy, some, oh my God, I have parents in this world whose job it is to take care of me. You're a teacher who's come in, and you genuinely care about me, and I look up to you as a master, and I'm like, there's a genuine, it's so interesting because
it doesn't all feel like lines. Like at one point he did say a line, he goes, ooh, yay, I got to use that corny line from that like dating sim. But not everything that he says to Roxy comes off as a 34-year-old man purposefully saying things.
And I think that's the intention.
Roxy.
Because at a young age, he started getting you know, being severely bullied and isolated, which deprived him of these social interactions. So whereas other parts of him and his mind have progressed in age, certain parts haven't, and we are seeing a physical a representation of it in form of a physical child, of him having pure childlike moments with Roxy that are non-perverted.
So when they got on the horse and were leaving, I wrote down really quickly in my notebook, it's a complex version of your first day of school. They took this true, real emotion for a 5-year-old leaving the house for the first time to go do something out in the world without their parents, which is like the first day of school, where a lot of kids cry, a lot of kids are upset. I told my mom to leave. I don't know what you did on your first day of school.
I don't remember my first day of preschool. I only remember my first day of
I was going with kindergarten. I was like, bye, mommy.
Kindergarten, I was crying. I was like, I don't want to sit with any of these kids. They look mean. And then the teacher was like, go sit with the kid in the back who's alone. It was Noah. I've talked about him on the channel before. He's a cool dude. So yeah. Regardless, I'm kind of upset that you called him just a horse. Caravaggio has a name and you should use it.
When they
struck him down.
I could not. I couldn't handle that. I'm laughing kind of about it now by the fact that the horse isn't actually dead. Does it make you wonder at all the severity that is
the horse has trauma.
The severity in this world in terms of death. You know, if there's healing magic, does it make you wonder if they're ever going to go with darker themes of... We had a funeral in this episode as well. So is this new world that we were reborn into, is there death here, or does this healing magic work a lot of the time? Is there severe illnesses? Is Rudy going to meet with a theme that he obviously... I'm going to go and say that possibly 34-year-old... Can we give him a name? He's not really Rudy, because Rudy's the kid.
Judy. Yeah.
Okay, Judy, the 34-year-old. I can see, not only did he not want to leave the house, but I could see, especially on top of the not wanting to leave the house to go to the funeral. Booty?
Yeah, because he's a butthead. I don't know. Okay, go on, sorry.
I could see it being also the fact that since there wasn't probably a lot of growth happening in terms of interpersonal relationships and care and connections and emotions, that complex emotions weren't dealt with and or were shunned inside his body. And so I doubt it even really occurred to him. Like, I don't think he ever let himself feel probably even that his parents had died. And in a way, him not going and him doing what he was doing during it could have almost been like a coping mechanism of a blockage, like he's not going to think about it. And I do wonder if that trauma of his parents dying, when really they were the ones reaching their hands out to him while he was isolated, if that is going to come back. I mean, you would think it would have come back with him getting new parents in this new world, but I do wonder, because they were the people that probably reached out to him, were the last of the people before he died that tried to, reach out their hand to him.
I think it's an interesting point, because I wonder how Rudy sees it. I wonder if Rudy still, he obviously refers to them as first names, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't believe that Rudy believes these are his parents, right? Mm-hmm. They're just people who have raised him.
Yeah.
That's
They're the people he's known for 5 years that have raised him, but he still, obviously, by calling them the first names, is thinking about probably his original parents.
Yeah. Intentionally not thinking about them, like you alluded to.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to get into what happened in regards to
his death.
Yeah, Judy doesn't feel right. Booty doesn't feel right. I don't know what we're
just
gonna
say 34. Yeah. 34-year-old.
The 34-year-old. Once he was kicked out and walking barefoot in the street, he stopped at the crosswalk, right? And it seemed like he looked over at the group of the 3 people, right? And it didn't seem like that they were necessarily all in a dispute with each other. It seemed like the girl was with one guy and then the other guy was trying to defuse the situation.
Mm-hmm. Like maybe a breakup was happening. Maybe he posted a picture with another girl and she's like, how could you do that to me? And the friend's like, oh guys, we shouldn't fight right here. It's literally raining.
But they are in like a middle partitioned section with bushes. It's like in between two sides of the street, right?
Mhm.
So this is a place that is safe from cars.
Yeah, so
And
it's not
then-
like they're in the middle of the road having this discussion.
Yeah, and then 34 sees the truck swerving
Because of
in
the
the
rain.
rain and starts to veer, I assume, towards them.
But
And-
it seems like it didn't even really. At the end, you know, it seemed like the truck
I couldn't tell.
wasn't going to hit them.
I genuinely cannot tell because I had the same thought as you because I felt like we were zoomed in. I felt like we couldn't intentionally see if he
Discern
pushed
that
people out of
necessarily.
the
He
way,
could've-
if
he
he
could've,
died for no
like-
reason, you know?
Right. Oh,
But I got the
what
same
if he
feeling he
did
did.
die for no reason? And he realized that.
And people could think that he like killed himself just out of
You know
know.
how I read a book once, I believe it was called Elsewhere. And it was about instead of reincarnation, it was basically like you were in almost like a holding zone basically before you were reborn into a baby. And they could go to this park, if you will, and put a coin in to the binoculars and look down on their life. The life they had left and what people were doing, their loved ones.
Oh, like so after they had passed away?
Mhm.
Like okay.
So I do
interesting.
wonder if, you know, we have this magic child that is like really excelling in magic. Is there any realm of possibility that he could see things that happen after his death that could then help heal him further?
Help heal him or potentially other people.
Mhm.
Maybe he could help other people because of it.
Mhm.
I think that that's a great point though, because maybe the strongest ability Rudy has isn't the magic. It's, you know, that obviously he can use these cheesy lines that you couldn't get away with in another world here. You could probably use cheesy lines for self-improvement and betterment, and, you know, in the same kind of way.
Mhm.
Thought that was
It also helps that he's a 5-year-old saying the cheesy lines for sure.
That's very true. Well, we don't know even, you know, it could work.
It could
10
work.
years later.
I don't know. But it just all matters on how far into this other life that he lived before this. How far does that enter the narrative? Is that just the place we started and the environment that created the 34-year-old consciousness that's inside this child, and that's it? End of story on that. And that these first 2 episodes were really the only episodes that are really gonna bring that up, that we know that he was traumatized. And that he obviously had a bad relationship with his brother, his parents died. But is that it? I don't think I want to go to a place where I say it's it, because I think that it would be very fulfilling in possibly, depending on if it was worth it for him to die or not, to know what happened to those kids, because his dying thoughts were wondering what happened to them in the first episode.
Yeah. But, okay, so it reminded me of this quote by, if I'm honest, I saw this a while ago in a book. I don't know much about this person, but the quote was, "True change is the rebirth of the way that we learn." Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, that's a very big, like, reincarnation quote that comes to mind for me. And then it kind of, like, led me down this route of thinking, even though he had this insane fear of, like, anything leaving the house, anything social, people in general, and he was traumatized from it. In his last moments, he still chose to, regardless of what actually happened, try to save strangers. And
which shows that he was still a good person. I mean, I can't
I don't
say
know
that
about
someone,
good person, but like it shows that there was still
someone willing to lay their life down basically to try to save strangers when they're scared of people.
It was an act that was admirable.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make him a good person, but it was a good thing. Like it was a virtuous thing to do.
I would say that the only really bad thing that I saw him do was not go to the funeral.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just don't know yet, you know.
Right.
But we got a little bit, so correct me where I'm wrong here because I might misunderstand it. So we have demons in this world. There is a race called the Superd.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the race that Roxy
Yes,
is?
I believe so. And then at the very end, she said, I don't think she said what the race was with the,
green hair and the red gem in the forehead? Yeah.
I think she just told him what they look like.
Okay.
And said for him to avoid them, because they will kill his whole family.
Jeez, that's heavy. But so do you think then her race all has purple hair?
probably if it was so iconic and, that they knew who she was when she walked into this village, and who knows how this village treated her 2 years ago when she first got there.
Yeah. If you stay up late, the Superd will come and get you. Is the Superd actually the one with the green hair? Or, because she's being told these tales when she was a kid, right? There was a big war between humans and demons called the Lapless War. In that war, the Superd went on a rampage. They slaughtered friend and foe alike without regard for women or children. That earned them the hatred of every race. After the war, I'm told they were driven from the demon continent. That shows how dangerous they are.
Okay, so then why wasn't she driven? I thought she had identified that she was...
She said, I'm a demon.
Oh, she's a demon.
Yeah.
But she is not a Superd?
I don't think so. I think the Superds are...
The green with the red gems.
Haven't you heard of a terrifying race of demons called the Superd? I want to go just before this to see if we get any other context.
See, she said it right after referencing her hair.
She said it right after saying, "Didn't you see how Zenith and Paul were so surprised to see me?" And so they were surprised to see my hair color. So I think that out of a fear of the Superd resulted in a general fear of all demons, maybe?
Possibly.
I don't know. I'm trying. But demon continent, that's interesting. I imagine we're going to meet somebody with green hair and a red gem on their forehead very soon.
I know, as soon as that, I don't know if it was the outro or the opening, that we saw, but as soon as I saw a girl with red hair, I, forgot for a second. I was like, is that is that it? And then it has a green gem, and then I was like, wait, no. Wrong combination.
So
can't unlock the safe. Wrong combination.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have to be going to Renoa, right?
We have to be going to,
the University of
Magic. We literally look out on the distance and we talk about this magical university. Well, what scary, traumatic things other than leaving the house do we get from him is obviously classmates and how people his own age are going to treat him. And then we also know that he has already surpassed or has met the level of his master.
Yeah.
So I think the question is, what age does he need to be or will he be to be able to leave the house? They said, what was it? Was it 15 that you're an adult?
Yeah.
But I think that he will be able to leave maybe a little bit earlier than that.
Maybe per recommendation even from Roxy. I don't know if that's how it works.
Definitely not 5 years old. I mean, we did think he looked older in that outro thing that we got.
Yeah.
I would guess maybe 13?
Or so you don't think the whole 15? Maybe 10. Double his age now,
Yeah, maybe on his next birthday celebration, his parents will be like, yeah, you can go.
Yeah.
I felt so bad for the dad, only in the way that, come on, he gets given. I mean, maybe I should be upset at the dad because you should acknowledge what your kids are interested in.
Yeah, but I think he has a good point.
Them.
From what I understand, I'd assume that the dad knows he's able to cast magic without incantations. I don't think that it's a secret from his parents. And with that knowledge, he still says, close combat magic doesn't always work. You might want a sword. So do you think that Rudy's going to inevitably be able to wield a sword well, or at least adequately, or even have one on his body? He got it from his dad.
Well, I think one of the issues is that we're probably going to have him still be somewhat of a child. Even if he is 15 in that kind of outro, he still looked rather small framed.
Yeah,
and true. The sword that his father gave him was big.
I wonder.
Big and heavy looking.
So do you imagine, do you see Rudy learning different, elemental magics or he's a saint level water mage. Yeah. Using cumulonimbus. I wonder if there's going to be altostratus or nimbostratus, different cloud type moves. That'd be awesome.
When we bring that up, all I think about is the horse again.
Oh, Caravaggio.
I love that she actually built a barrier. I was like, I wonder if she's going to build a barrier.
This is a cool barrier.
She did, to build it out of the earth.
So his parents don't seem too whoa, flabbergasted, you're so strong. It's oh yeah, you're pretty strong. That's kind of crazy, dude.
Could it feed into the fact that they are we love you so much and you're amazing. Oh my god, look, our kid's a star.
I don't know. We keep getting the knowledge that things are happening between the parents. Is there do they have like, okay, if we have kids, they're going to be like prodigies. Like, you know, we have like a knight and then maybe like a.
Wouldn't it be cute if they had a daughter and the daughter was the like sword wielder?
What if the
That'd be
daughter
adorable.
was also somebody from his past life?
That'd be cool.
Like, what if the daughter was one of the people he saved or couldn't save, or like, you know, I don't know, something else. We got a charm from Roxy's hometown.
I think that's definitely gonna come back at some point. If everyone is not very kind to demons, or that there is judgment of demons, he has this charm now that basically identifies that he is friends with someone of the demon race, and that could, if you're friends with someone that people might be afraid of, that doesn't bode well in terms of avoiding possible bullying if he goes to a school. But I think that going through a similar trauma and then finding a way to rise above it, or finding a way to not, you know, when like they say that if someone was bullying you and you don't give them the reaction that they want, you know, what
they
if
don't get the satisfaction?
Yeah. What if you're like, but look, I'm stronger than you at magic. Like, boom.
Yeah.
I'm obviously cooler. It could depending on how they went.
It depends
with
on how they want to handle
I don't necessarily
Rudy's...
want to see a child get bullied, but having, and I'm talking like a very non-severe instance of bullying, that once he gets to school and they're like, oh, are you weird? You're friends with a demon? And him being like, yeah, I am. And then that's like end of story. And no one's like mean to him after that.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
I could totally see like a young Sheldon type thing of him going to college when he's not like old enough though, you know?
Yeah.
That could be pretty good.
But a lot of the one other character, the redhead, looked somewhat childlike.
Yeah.
But Roxy also looks childlike. Assuming that Roxy, I feel like Roxy seems like seasoned at being a tutor, possibly. This doesn't seem like this was her first tutoring job, so she must be like older than 15.
There was definitely like an acknowledgement that Roxy's getting older too. Look what she's doing, because she's spying on the parents, you know?
That was probably the one part of the episode I forgot about. Or maybe I just blocked it out. Maybe I was just like...
You forgot about it?
I didn't actually forget about it.
I feel like I was just trying to analyze like sweat
because
droplets
we
in
said
the legs.
We were taking this really seriously.
Yeah.
We said that we were going to take this show really seriously and be really like analyzing it to our fullest capabilities.
Yeah, and he says that, like, you know, Roxy's a growing girl. Even I have the heart to pretend I didn't see anything.
How kind of him.
Yeah. Do you think we're going to see Roxy again? Or not that, because I imagine that we will see her again, but do you think she'll be a consistent part of the story going forward?
That's a really good question. At the moment, their paths don't seem to be ones that should be crossing if he's going to a school that she already went to and she wants to go travel and get stronger. Going back to school wouldn't, if she's already probably graduated, isn't necessarily the choice she would probably make to get stronger. Maybe she comes back and she's somewhat of a teacher's aide or something at the school he goes to. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he just runs into her on adventures. Maybe he runs into someone that... It's probably going to be runs into someone that somewhat reminds him of her. Another demon, maybe. I'm just...
Rudy, like, is illuminating the hallway with flame magic, right?
Uh-huh. Fire.
And, like, in a dark...
It's fire bending.
In a dark hallway... It obviously illuminates a decent part of the room, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if Rudy is intentionally trying to keep the flame so small that Roxy doesn't recognize it, but they're in a very close vicinity to each other, and Roxy has no knowledge of like a light being around at all. Also, the animation that they used for Roxy, like... I wrote even down in my notes, clothing +1, animation +1, art direction +1. I really like that all in this show, but probably my least favorite bit of animation in this entire episode was just the recycled use of shoulder movement with Roxy right here. I mean, you could be a little creative, you know?
Yeah, totally.
No, but
I bet the parents were being creative.
I joke, but I really do. I'm liking the show so far. I really like the art. That's my favorite part.
I just do wonder, as we get into further episodes, how, I guess my final thoughts are, I do wonder how far in the more perverted area things go. And I do hope, I guess that he doesn't continue to do worse than maybe, I mean, peeping is bad, so I don't want him to do worse than that. And I wonder how that will go, and I also wonder the severity in this world of themes like death.
Well, whatever that perversion or death is, we will be here.
We will be
to judge its animation quality in our direction.
Because what? Because what? We're judging the animation in our direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because why? Because why?
That's what we do.
No, because we're getting serious about this.
You good?
It's my like motto that I'm just gonna keep like. Well, I should just put it on the screen at this point because I keep implementing it somewhere in there.
You good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
We're not awkward. You're awkward. We're not awkward. You're awkward. We're not awkward. You're awkward. You're awkward.
You're awkward.